Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Sales Ops track. We still have some people coming in, that's just fine. So I know you all are really cold. I see lots of shaking and shivering. Hopefully this will be as pleasant as we can make it. We've got the little breeze coming in. So thanks for coming out after the keynote and hearing our first afternoon session. We've got some great speakers teed up. But I also want to encourage you to just kind of stay planted, hang out with us for the afternoon, because we've got a number of sales operations focused tracks, but there's a variety of different topics coming throughout the afternoon. So thanks for being here, and I'm going to pass things off to Kingman to get this session started.
Hey everyone, are you guys hot or cool? Hot. So there's a whole section over there right by that door. I feel a lot cooler sitting right there. Just saying. So I am totally excited with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Before I introduce Jack, I'll just tell you a really quick story. Jack said he was here sitting there last year, and Elliot was standing up here talking about machine learning. And lo and behold, Jack decided to talk to us about machine learning, and now he's up here, and he'll be talking to us about machine learning. Now, let me say this. Pay attention to what he's saying. How many of you guys have the Accelerate app? All right, so there's a very important question that will be asked at the end on the app, and there will be a prize. So if you listen to what Jack and Elliot says, you'll probably get the question right. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Elliot and Jack up.
Great. Jack, thank you so much for coming to speak with us. What I'd like to do is just set a little bit of context for you all around the topic of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and then Jack will take over, and he's got the real magic. He's going to talk about some of the things that his organization, Wolters Kluwer, is doing, and he's actually going to show you a demonstration of the solution that they're using.
Yes.
So when we talk about, and if, do we have a
You have a clicker.
clicker? Fantastic. So I think this is us. Yep. When we talk about machine learning or artificial intelligence, increasingly, for each of us, we're interacting with it on a daily basis. We use it to figure out how to get from here to there, or what movie to watch, or what product to buy. And in fact, more and more, we're even less aware that we're interacting with not an entity, but a set of algorithms. I mean, we use Waze every day to figure out how to navigate the traffic between home and work. So this is the world that we live in as individuals. When we think about that in the context of an enterprise space, and specifically for quote to cash, it's nothing short of a revolution. And we're at the beginning of it. And so it's really exciting. When we think about the notion of providing intelligence to a user within some part of quote to cash, at Apttus we use this model to help us think about that. The foundation of this model is what we call descriptive analytics. This is looking at the information that you have about what's happened in the past. And oftentimes, this is provided to you in the form of a chart or a report. Vitally important, right? There's an entire industry called BI that's founded on this. But if I have this data available to me, I can bring some analytics to that. And I can do some things that are predictive in nature. I can score things on probability. Think of this almost like a weather forecast. Today it's supposed to be 87 and sunny. So you should have worn shorts, maybe, and a polo shirt. But yeah, so it's not a guarantee, but it's certainly helpful. It can help you prepare. If I have enough of that, I can actually move beyond and begin to be prescriptive in nature. If I understand enough of those patterns. Think of this much like the way that a doctor prescribes a medication for a particular indication. And so here we can tell a user in the revenue-making process, here's what's likely to happen in your business, and here's some choices for you to consider on how you might respond. Going beyond that, we think of full cognitive. And here, a great model to think about is a self-driving car. Right? The car has the ability to understand, reason, and learn, to navigate a variety of use cases or circumstances. And increasingly, we find cognitive capabilities behind the applications that we use within quote-to-cash. We want to share a few things today that are predictive and prescriptive in nature, moving towards cognitive, and that's what Jack will show us. Now, we use a lot of machine learning, right? It sits beneath those, beneath those analytics, beneath the artificial intelligence. And the truth is, it's not new. But it is finding a renaissance. It's new again. And that's in part because of cloud, because of the generification of algorithms, because of the importance, the sexiness of data science. I don't know if you guys saw the presentation earlier, but we're bringing Apttus and IBM are bringing sexy back to quote-to-cash. And the data scientists are the key for that. So yeah, it's because of IoT. It's connected devices that are streaming data. It's this tsunami of data, and we have to have intelligent agents to help us make sense of that, to find the value in those streams of data. Within Apttus, within CPQ, we focus on a handful of applications today that we're working with customers around. One of them is quote scoring, or providing the probability of a particular quote converting. Cross-sell, so the likelihood that a given customer might be interested in a particular product. We can do that through analysis of historic information about customers and sales. And pricing intelligence, the ability to actually provide a recommendation around a price for this customer on this deal, this renewal. And it was really on that point, Jack, that last year in this very hall, you saw some of the stuff that we were doing around cross-sell, and you said, I've got a need for that because of the subscription base of your business is key on that. How do you drive revenue? How do you drive account growth? And so that's really the point that I want to hand this to you and have you take over and tell these folks about the things that
Sure. So first, let me set the stage for you. Wolters Kluwer Legal and Regulatory US, which is the group that I'm part of, we sell content and expert solutions to lawyers, to corporate compliance, health compliance, reimbursement officers, and to the legal ed market. So we have a wide selection of products and a wide selection of customers. And we were looking for ways to find a solution for a challenge that we had. We've got a very large product catalog. We've got a large amount of historical contract data. And our business is a subscription business, so the reps need to be able to go out and figure out what to talk to with the customer that adds value at the point that they're starting to renew the subscription. And that ability to surface for them what is appropriate to discuss is direct add to the top line growth of the company, so tremendously important. It also means that if we can do that in an automated fashion, the reps don't have to spend as much time reviewing the account, understanding the account's installed products, and that they will get better outcomes because it's looking across the entirety of our data set. It's not what the rep anecdotally knows, it's what the system knows about our customers with similar demographics, and making a recommendation about if a customer has an investment here and has attributes A and B, then the next logical product to recommend to them is product C. So when we implemented, we started talking at Accelerate. We started the development effort with a target of launching it for Q4, which was pretty ambitious. We got about 3 months worth of work done, realized that we weren't quite going to hit Q4, and we knew that we had to put this work on hold because there was no way the business was going to add a new solution during our key selling season, which is fourth quarter. So then we picked it back up in January, completed another 3 months worth of work, and launched it in April. So it's been live for a month. Now, the initial feedback from the sales reps is that the solution saves them time, provides eminently valid recommendations, and that the efficiency gains that they're getting are directly translating into new sales that they're making that they wouldn't have otherwise have had the time to research and make. And in fact, we won the Wolters Kluwer Legal and Regulatory Enterprise Achievement and Excellence in Action Award for our launch. That's a global award. Wolters Kluwer looks at submissions from business units across the world, and they said that this was significant enough because we are a data-driven company. We need applications like this in our infrastructure. So, and also one point to make, initially we're refreshing these recommendations monthly, so we're not doing this in real time. We're gathering the data set, we're putting it into Azure, we're running the algorithms, we're bringing it back. Okay, with that, let's switch over to the screens, and we'll actually show you what we did. Okay, so I'm a sales rep at this point. I'm coming in, and I want to look at some of my accounts. And here's morning, noon, and night law firm. We have two types of accounts. We have named accounts where the sales rep owns every location of a given organization. And then we have geographic accounts where the rep owns a state, and when they own the state, they're allowed to sell to all the accounts inside that state that are not named to another rep. So in this case, they have the basic account details, and you can see we have a wide variety of territories there that are applied to the account because we have a wide variety of reps that can sell different product sets to the same customer. And the application is this product portfolio recommendation. Now, for a rep that the system does not have recommendations for, this section doesn't even appear. So it doesn't confuse the rep of asking them to make a click when there's not a reason to make that click. When they click in here, what it does is it goes into the recommendations data set and pulls up information. And based on whether this was an enterprise account, named account, or whether this was a geographic account, it pulls up the appropriate set of recommendations. If it's an enterprise account, it's looking at the inventory across multiple locations for the organization. If it's a geographic account, it's looking at just that account that the rep was sitting on. And we have, as I said, a large number of products. We group them into intellectual property families. So for example, we have the federal estate and gift tax report intellectual property. Underneath that, there are 7 products. What the system is doing is saying, this is a high recommendation, high probability that we can sell this product to this customer based on the customer's demographics. And it gives the rep an identification of similar organizations. So in this case, Barley Snyder and Rhodey Dickinson, they're similar based on the market segment of legal professional and based on the subsegment of being a law firm 51 to 100, and also based on the contract data of they're buying similar products, therefore they're a good fit for the recommendation. So the rep looks at this and goes, you know what? I know that there's a reason why federal estate and gift tax is not a good recommendation. They can actually give feedback directly inside the system saying this either adds value or it does not add value. And if they say no, they can also put in a particular recommendation that helps us fine-tune the application from a pick list. Plus, they can give us free text. If it's a yes, they can give us free text about, how appropriate this recommendation is. And when they submit this, we've got a record tagged to that recommendation that's going to go back in and get consumed by the algorithm in Azure when we do the monthly refresh. Now, if they decide that, yes, this is appropriate, we can then go down and look at the products inside that product family. And we can see, all right, federal estate and gift tax bundle used with a view plan bundle. That has potential. You could add it to the list. There are a number of other products here that have potential. The rep knows which one is relevant based on the rep's role and the type of customer they're selling to. So, for example, they may want to sell the internet version and the print version of this product to the customer. If you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, we've now got a create quote button that says there's 2 products associated with it. So now they just jump over to another section, Federal Securities Law Report, and they look in, and similarly, they have recommendations, or the banking law report, where there are recommendations. If the product that is being suggested to the rep was already in flight because they had previously created an opportunity, it would no longer say potential. It would say that there is an opportunity in flight, and you wouldn't be able to add it to the list. So again, because the asynchronous nature of the recommendations, we're building into the system intelligent logic to show the rep what's already in flight. If it had already gotten installed, again, that would show, so that if the rep successfully made a sale before the end of the month, that information would also flow into the system. Now, if the rep then goes and says, all right, I do want to create the quote, he's given an option. Are these two products that you've selected still the right products? If he goes, you know what, I just want to pitch the internet, he can take the print version off. When he hits create quote, the system is going through and creating an opportunity record, it's creating a quote proposal record, it's creating a shopping cart configuration, all in one go. And as you can see, it's cycling through slowly. We're not on the latest version of Apttus, so we're not getting client-side processing, which is what was mentioned during the keynote. And then the rep sees, all right, here's the federal estate gift tax reporter. There's no price. Well, standard process for the rep is to reprice it. It applies all of our pricing rules based on the size of the customer, the rep, the product involved, brings through the price that the rep should be quoting. Now, if they wanted to, they could adjust it or put a promotion in, but because this is just a target, they haven't started discussing it with the customer right now, the appropriate thing to do is just review and finalize. And when they do that, they then have that completed opportunity, completed quote, all ready with all of the information necessary for the system to accept the opportunity and quote already preset. And if we skip over to the opportunity record, which is where we manage most of our sales relationships, you can see the next step reminds the rep that they have to update the opportunity's close date, because we had to choose a default, in this case 2 months in advance. They've got to update the next step field, and they should identify the primary contact on the quote, because we don't know who in particular they're going to be quoting this to at this point. Lastly, if they want to change the sale type, we're making an assumption that they want to do a standard contract for a subscription, they can do that. And if they want to change the subscription period estimate of when it would start and end, they change that. So we're taking the rep through, we're automating what was a multi-click solution into just a couple of clicks, and then reminding the rep where we're making assumptions and where the rep needs to go in and adjust things. With Max, we anticipate that we'll be able to automate this even further, where Max would prompt them with questions, and we would then plug that in. We've actually got the process diagram developed for that. We have not yet implemented it. So first, we've got a working solution, and second step is, how do we actually get this enhanced? Now, questions about the solution that I put up there? So we have, the question was, what was the product inventory? Do we have opportunity products or assets? We use asset ordering, so we can show the rep what the installed products are if they want to modify an existing contract. However, when you're doing a cross-sell, those products aren't installed. So this is purely opportunity products, and we have a catalog of about 20,000 products. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
So 2 questions. What do the reps actually think? And then do you have any data around how often they're using it? What's the conversion rate to the suggestion to opportunity, or actually closing deals, not just creating an op?
So the users who were involved in the user acceptance testing, the one that is in a transactional team is using this about 10 times a week. One that was in a named account territory is using it about 5 times a week. And we've got 3 reps each in those categories. We are We've demonstrated this to the entire sales team during a national sales meeting for the organization. We got rave reviews, and then we had individual breakouts with each team. Every one of them said, this is great, I'm going to use it. Since we're only 30 days in, we don't have detailed metrics yet. We're anticipating that within the next 2-3 months, we should be able to have some close rates to associate with it. Other questions?
When you did the review recommendation, there's a price that came up, say
Yes.
price book price. Is there logic behind that, or is that just coming from a price list?
It's coming from a price list.
Okay.
And you could see that in certain cases there was a product that had tiered pricing. It's not running the pricing rules at the point of the recommendation. It's running them when the reprice occurs in the shopping cart. So we show the tiered pricing in the description so that a rep who knows that they're dealing with a tier 2 customer is going to be thinking that it's going to be a tier 2 price.
Okay.
But again, it's not tremendously relevant for the rep to think about the price at this point. What they should be thinking about is what's the next product that's appropriate to talk with the customer about. So we've emphasized to the reps, don't think about discounting this, don't think about putting a promotion on this. Think about, is this relevant to discuss? If it is, create the opportunity and start the discussion. And then if you lost it, that's fine. If you find you have to discount it, the appropriate discounting rules would apply.
Thank you.
So interesting comment you made with if you move it to close lost. So when you're looking at win rates, success rates, will you bucketize those that were created out of the ML?
Yes.
So you'll have a separate category for how often are we winning,
Yeah.
ML driven is it a lead type or something?
Absolutely, and that's part of the data set that gets fed back into the Azure database every month, is here's all the opportunities created from the recommendation application, and here's which ones are still open, which ones were closed lost, which ones were closed won. So we have a way to learn continuously using the machine learning and enhance those recommendations. So let's flip to the slide set again. Okay, so what we're planning on doing beyond this is taking this data and enhancing our white space analysis for our customers. I mean, right now it's at a point of analysis, rep picks a product and moves forward. We'd like to take that same data set and expose it to the rep on the account and say, here's your account, here's where we think the white space is, so that they can go into the account with a comprehensive plan of, here's the 3 or 4 things that we think you need based on similar customers' usage of our data. We're also looking at price optimization, because we'll be able to take a look at what similar customers are paying for the same product and get away from our list pricing or our tiered pricing and move towards value pricing of customers with this demographic data really value this product in this fashion, so that we can bring the reps up to getting optimal pricing based on the product value that our customers are expressing. Near term, we're trying to take the white space analysis on the accounts, move it out into territory recommendations. You know, what's the potential opportunity in the territory for practice area A products or practice area B products? Also incorporating usage data, so that we can say customers with high usage are getting high value out of the content libraries that we're providing. And then midterm, bringing in Max, putting the conversational interface in place, and doing best quote recommendations, where we say reps who are using the system are most often pricing it in this fashion. This is what we recommend based on similar rep behaviors. You know, the top reps are doing this, you should be doing this. And in fact, that was the use case that you showed me last year. That's right. And we're looking to add to. Now, overall, best practice recommendations, how can you get something like this in play? I would say first, you do a clear business case, and one that adds to top line revenue growth like this is a slam dunk. I had no pushback when I said, we need to do this, here's the investment we need to have. In fact, the question wasn't the investment, the question was how fast can you get it up and running? And then with the users and with the executive teams, we set the clear expectations. This is the first building block. This is going to learn And the value will increase as it learns, as we add more data elements to it. And then I started going outside the sales organization and socializing the value to identify additional stakeholders. So our director of pricing, which sits in our marketing group, came to him and said, you know what, we potentially have a price optimization play that we can do with machine learning. And he said, that's great. I've actually got budget already set aside to find some price optimization tools. If you're already building the infrastructure that I can leverage, I'm just going to piggyback my project on your project. And planning for the future, having that vision that you can socialize in the organization and say incrementally, here's where we're going to go each step, means that it's very easy to get full executive buy-in and then move forward. And if you have to pivot, you can pivot with input from the executives as to what is important to the organization. All right, so with the slide set, we do have screen captures, so you will be able to take those from the download of the presentation. At this point, more questions for Elliot or myself?
Sarah, right in front of you, please.
Can you provide roughly how many analytic data points that you're actually providing and putting into your ML to kind of come up with your
How
recommendations?
many analytic data points? The team is right, right here. Do you guys want to speak to that? Rough number. Maybe you can pass the mic to.
Everything in one single
Yeah.
application.
So if you think about Apttus as a single within the CRM is a single data model, and basically we assume that's our starting point.
Yeah.
And the way that we worked this with Jack is we had an existing algorithm, and the idea was to tune that. Mm-hmm. One point I didn't make up front, which is really important design point for what we do. Your CPQ solution is a rules-based system. Those rules are vitally important. They need to do what rules do. We enhance them with machine learning. So because you have a territory model, not every seller sees everything. And that was one of the things that when Jack showed that timeline, that was one of the things that took us a lot of the time was the algorithm, we had that pumping out data, I don't know, within the first couple weeks.
Yes.
But to have you eyeball it and tell us, this looks good, you couldn't because we had to pass it through those filters. We spent time trying to recreate those filters outside the system, and finally we just said the only way to do it was within the system. So you have to create the UI, and then I think you change the territory model, and so that was, we had compounding effect. But the key is single data model, standard algorithm, and works with rules.
And then one follow-up, how difficult would it be moving forward to add more ML analytical data points?
For these guys, not hard at all.
Yes, and that's part of the incremental build. We see it very easy to add additional attributes in. Different data sources like usage data, which does not directly correlate to specific products. It correlates to pages inside products. That's a little more complicated, but it's still very doable. And so if you think of anything that's associated with contracts, anything that's associated with customers, easy to pull that in, do the work, and get enhanced recommendations from there. We're just about out of time, so
More questions, sorry.
thank you all. Really
Jack, I just want to say thank you. Yes. It's really your vision that's been part of this partnership that's led to this innovation. So this has been fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack and Elliot.